Hi, my loves. Welcome to the Affirmation podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about finding purpose when you're feeling behind and when you're feeling lost in life. Because let's be honest, we all experience this at some point. I have experienced those feelings many times, and I know that those feelings are not done with me. I know that they're going to come at some point, and it's just about riding through the wave and keeping your head above waters and just getting through. Feeling lost is just part of life, and it's something that none of us can avoid. So I'm really just excited to talk about how we can navigate those emotions when we experience them. So before we dive into today's episode, I just want y'all to pause for a second and think about a time in life where you felt lost or where you were feeling behind, but you still kept going. That's the beauty in this. If at one point you were feeling behind and you still persevered, that just goes to show how strong you are and how everything is temporary. Any bad feeling, any negative feeling, it's temporary and you will get through it. If you can persevere once, you can persevere again. So let's get into today's episode. Feeling lost is a part of the journey, you guys. Even though it doesn't feel good, even though it's not the best feeling behind, it's kind of necessary because if life were easy, if everything was crystal clear, if we had a clear picture of the direction we were heading in, would it even be worth it? Like, be honest with yourself. I know that when I'm being honest with myself, I feel like my life wouldn't be what it is if I knew where I was going. Like, if someone told me, Ladette, you're here and you're going to get here and this is how it's going to happen, then I don't think that it would feel as rewarding when I make certain accomplishments in my life. I really do feel like there is beauty in feeling a little bit lost and that there's beauty in feeling behind because when you do get through it, which you always end up getting through it, it just feels so rewarding. And I just feel like it makes us better, stronger versions of ourselves. And specifically when it comes to feeling behind, we're not really racing against time. Time is honestly the biggest illusion. And if you can just remove the importance that you put on time in your timeline, I really think it can open up doors and possibilities for you. And the biggest of all, I honestly just feel like it gives us grace and permission to take our time to just figure it out. So once you get to the point of just kind of accepting that feeling behind is kind of part of the process, I think the next biggest thing is to talk about how to get through those feelings and to kind of address what feelings you might even be experiencing. When you're feeling lost, when you're feeling behind in life, you might feel like you don't know what you're doing in your career. Maybe you feel like you don't know what's going on in your love life, in your relationships. Maybe you feel like you're the only person who hasn't achieved XYZ. Like there could be a lot of comparisons coming up. And I can tell y'all, oh my God, I used to compare myself so much, especially to people in my family, which is kind of crazy because I can say, even though I was comparing myself, saying I'm the only one who doesn't have kids, I'm the only one who doesn't have a relationship, I'm also the first one to buy a house of my siblings and of my close cousins. And so from another perspective, one might say they might feel like they're behind. You know what I mean? But that's not true, by the way. But it just goes to show like we can't really compare ourselves to other people because in places where we're feeling behind, someone else might look at our life and think, wow, I wish I was at this stage, where they're at in their career or this stage and, where they're at in their entrepreneurship. I don't know, but don't compare yourself. That is the worst thing you can do because you really don't even know what other people got going on at the end of the day. And so the best thing you can tell yourself when you're feeling bad is just telling yourself, I'm not against time. I'm not rushing against time. My life is my life. Like I don't have to compare myself to other people. I don't know what they have going on and just really focusing the attention back to you because your life has nothing to do with other people. And it's really just about loving yourself and showing up for yourself. So any negative feelings that you're feeling, it's okay to acknowledge them, but just don't allow that comparison energy to take over. The other thing that I want to say is if you're feeling behind, to just remember that there's no set timeline that we all have to follow. There's people out here who finally achieved weight loss in their 50s, their 60s. There's people out there who became millionaires and entrepreneurs later on in life. Like there's no set timeline for when you have to know your career, your passions, your hobby, when you have to have kids, buy a house. It's made up. And there are so many people who achieve these things at various stages of life. So whatever timeline you've created is the one you have created. It's not the timeline that is like universal to all that determines how successful and happy you're going to be. So I would just say really like letting go of the timeline of when you have to have certain things accomplished in your life is the biggest sense of freedom and permission you can give yourself to just be okay with where you're at. Another common feeling might be just feeling a little bit uninspired because, yeah, when you're feeling lost, when you're feeling behind, it's easy to feel like you don't know what you should be doing. You don't know what the next step should be to gain momentum. You don't know what the next step should be to get out of your situations. So I wanted to share some ideas and some activities to help you gain that momentum and regain that inspo. The first thing is to start incorporating more fun into your life, whatever that looks like for you. Because anytime we're having fun, anytime we're playing, we're back in that like childlike mentality where it's almost like everything freezes and everything stops and you're just in the moment enjoying life. And I love that because it's in those moments where I feel like we just open ourselves up to what really brings us joy. And I feel like that's where all the downloads and the messages and the inspiration really come in. So whatever fun looks like for you, maybe that's going for a walk, maybe it's taking a day trip, maybe it's going on a hike, but like that is the best place to start, putting yourself in those positions that force you to forget about time. And so think about what is that activity for you? What's that one thing you do that brings you so much joy? Or what's that one thing you can do if you haven't done it yet? And go after it, go for it. The other thing you can do is spend some time in nature because who doesn't love that? Who does not feel good about themselves after going for a walk, even if it's 5 minutes? Being in nature, getting that vitamin D, feeling the sun on your skin, that is an automatic mood booster. And I always get dopamine and it's not serotonin because that's a sleep one. I think it's dopamine. Whatever chemical gets released in your brain when you're doing things that make you feel good, like who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to be instantly in a better mood? Go outside and gain your inspiration. Put on a podcast, find a motivational video on YouTube. You got to know what things that you can give yourself that get you out of a funk. I know for me, going outside, listening to a podcast, being around good company, those are all things that always make me feel better. Those are things that always give me inspiration, especially because the type of people I hang out with, they're all people who are working on themselves. They're people who care about their spiritual growth. And so that's why I surround myself with positive people because I know when I'm not feeling good, when I've lost momentum, when I've lost direction, even just talking to my friends who are thriving in life automatically makes me feel so much better. And that kind of brings me into my next point. And you got to get good at separating your emotions from your worth. So when you're feeling lost, when you're feeling behind, you probably are feeling like not great about yourself, which is okay, it's normal. But what's not normal is like loathing, like that self-loathing and staying in it. You got to just get good at separating the two. For example, telling yourself, it's okay that I'm not where I want to be in life, but it has nothing to do with my self-worth. It's okay if I'm not where I want to be in career, health, fitness, whatever, but it has nothing to do with my worth. You've got to force yourself to still go out there, put yourself out there and live your life no matter how bad you are feeling. Because even if you're feeling lost, even if you don't have direction right now, you still deserve to feel good about showing up for yourself. So find the ways that you can still do those things. And even if that is challenging, because I get it, I've also been in like really horrible mental funks to the point where even though I knew stepping outside would make me feel better, that I wouldn't. Even when I knew talking to certain friends would make me feel better, I wouldn't. So I know that sometimes it's challenging to do the thing you know you need to do to feel better. And so even if that is really challenging, reaffirm your worth, reaffirm what you want your life to be. And I love this because you can even just start with the emotions that you want to feel. So maybe you want to feel more peace. Okay, then tell yourself, I deserve to feel more peace in my life. And then if you're feeling like you can do it, force yourself to do an activity that brings you peace. So if I want to feel more love in my life, for example, let's say I'm single and I'm just ready for the relationship. I'm ready for that next step. I want to draw love into my life. Then I would tell myself I am worthy of having a romantic partner in my life. And then I would go and do something that makes me feel loved, that makes me feel good. Maybe I go and get a mani-pedi. Maybe I go get myself flowers. Maybe I write myself a love letter. But do you see what I mean? Whatever you're feeling lost in, whatever you're feeling behind in, maybe just describe like what emotions you want to start feeling, affirm those emotions and that you deserve to feel them, and then finding some sort of activity that brings you some satisfaction or some sense of that feeling that you're wanting to have. Which brings me into my final note for today's episode, and that is to say, some affirmations. You guys know we always do affirmations in this podcast. So today's affirmations are going to be all about getting through that feeling of being behind, getting through that feeling of feeling lost, and just kind of regrounding ourselves, regrounding our worth, and really just inspiring us to have that self-belief that we're going to get through it, that we're worthy. And it's going to be a reminder that there is light at the end of the tunnel. One of the best quotes I've ever heard is that through our pain, we find our purpose. And I think this really does apply to feeling behind in life, because it's in that feeling of feeling lost that we find who we are. It's in being lost that we find our purpose, our mission in life. And so to me, that is the biggest source of inspiration when I'm feeling bad about myself or when I'm feeling like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. It's just that reminder that, Ladette, even though you don't know where you're going right now, even though you don't know where you're headed, it's going to be so beautiful. The journey is going to be so beautiful getting to that destination. So yes, with that being said, let's say our affirmations. We're going to take a deep breath in for 4. Hold for 4. Breathe out for 4. And hold for 4. Alrighty, you can breathe normally and feel free to say these affirmations out loud inside your own internal dialogue, however you need to say that. I deserve peace and happiness. Even if I feel lost, I still keep pushing through because I love myself. I trust the universe's plan for me. I appreciate all aspects of my life, even when I feel lost, even when I feel sure. I release the control of knowing what happens in my life. I will always find my way. I'm brave enough to get through the hard times. In feeling lost, I always find my purpose. Alrighty, you guys. That feels so good. And if there's one affirmation that sticks with you, please let it be that last one. In feeling lost, I always find my purpose, okay? So even if you're feeling behind, even if you're feeling lost, it is a part of the process, and there's going to be the biggest blessing, I promise you, on the other side of it. If you guys would like access to today's affirmations, you can find that in my Patreon account under the free membership. I really like creating these because I just know how much I love looking at daily affirmations. You can always screenshot them, have it be your wallpaper for a week, and then switch it out with whatever I post the following week or whatever other affirmation you find. It doesn't have to even be the ones I shared today. Find something inspirational, like a little quote, set it as your wallpaper, and just look at it every day for that reminder, you guys. Like, it's so powerful the way that our subconscious mind latches onto information. And so if you want it to latch onto information that is going to uplift you, let it be affirmations. Let it be the things that you need to hear. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to give this video a like if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcasting platforms, please leave me a review. That really does help your girl out. And as of this year, I still haven't had any newer reviews. So I would really appreciate anyone who's getting value from this podcast to write something nice, because that boosts my rankings. Don't forget to comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys. You can leave a heart down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on today's episode. I love you guys. Bye.